Okay, again, good evening. My name is Dr. Krisha Morpia, your Chief Resident in the department. Okay, and my topic for this evening is a brief background on the clinical pathway for the management of acute bronchitis in family and community practice. Okay, this is a clinical pathway that was published last 2017 at the Filipino Family Physician Journal, authored by Dr. Noel Espallardo and the QA committee of PFP. Okay, so this is a summary or a compilation of articles as well as literature coming from the entire world of family medicine, and we will touch them one by one. Okay, so any encounters with patients with respiratory symptom, we usually assess them through history and physical examination. And the most common symptom that we usually encounter for patients with respiratory symptoms would be cough. No? It's the most common symptom that makes patient consult in our clinic in FM. Now, um, the disease entity or the condition that we are after for this evening is your acute bronchitis. It is usually the diagnosis given to these patients and should be differentiated with other respiratory diseases like your pneumonia and chronic bronchitis as well as asthma. Now, who could give me a hint? How could you differentiate bronchitis from pneumonia? Any volunteer from the clerk, St. Paul?
Good evening po, Doc.
Sige, Don.
Doc, for the clinical triad lang po, Doc, for I think sa may chronic bronchitis, ay sa may pneumonia po kasi, Doc, at least may takip niya po, Doc, fever and cough as differentiated by bronchitis po, Doc. Yung cough niya po, dapat, Doc, at least with sputum production and as well
Mhm.
as may, ang tawag po dito, at least three months po siya na consecutive in I believe it's 2 years po, Doc. Nasa pneumonia po kasi, Doc, parang it's anytime po, Doc, yung cough niya, either po productive or non-productive po, Doc.
Okay, come again with the duration, 3 months,
Yes po,
two
Doc.
years.
Yes po, Doc.
So, are you pertaining to the chronic bronchitis?
Yung chronic bronchitis po,
Uh,
yung
how about acute?
ah, sa acute, Doc, at least ang alam ko po sa acute, Doc, kahit hindi niya ma-fulfill yung 3 months po, Doc. And dun sa presentation po kasi ng bronchitis po, Doc, usually hindi naman po sila nagpe-present ng at tawag po dito, yung fever, ganun po na present sa
Mm,
clinical triad ng pneumonia po, Doc.
okay. So, parang it's more of if it does not fit the criteria of your chronic bronchitis, which is yung sabi mo nga, 2 months, 2 years, it is less likely to be a chronic in nature, pwedeng subacute or acute. Usually, yung acute natin would be around 5 to 7 days. So, pasok din siya doon. And then, meron siyang cough, no? And sputum production. Okay? So, you're correct doon with regards to the triad of pneumonia, which is usually seen also in pediatrics and in adults, di ba? Pwede ka din magdagdag ng support from a uh, PE finding of your lung, no significant respiratory or lung BE. So either crackles, okay, or adventitious breath sounds. Okay. So for your bronchitis or acute bronchitis, actually, you may have encountered a lot of these here in the clinics recently, no? Pero most of them might either be diagnosed with the term ORTI, diba? Or rhinosinusitis. You have to be specific na. And we should shy away from using the word upper respiratory tract infection kasi marami namang types yun, di ba? Then, your bronchitis actually is within the bronchial tree. So mas mababa siya. So you have to be specific din also if it's more on the bronchial area, the bronchial tree rather than the parenchymal area. So kung bronchial tree on anatomy, would you consider that you would hear crackles from these cases? Tingin nyo, from the
Dok,
interns.
usually wala po, Dok.
Wala. Ano,
More of
kasi,
the wheezing, ganun po,
or
Dok.
of the wheezing or RALs, di ba? Or
Yes, Dok.
bronchi, kasi more on the upper airways, di ba? Kasi on the uh, on the bronchial tree mismo. Kasi your crackles usually present in the alveolar sacs that would signify yun nga, uh, buildup of either bacterial growth or mucus production that would present with a specific feature of pneumonia, no? Parenchymal disease yun. Okay. So, in the family medicine clinic, we usually use clinical pathways. So there is your first visit, then your second visit. So according to the clinical pathway created by the AFP for bronchitis, this is the overview. Now, what's the importance of having a pathway? And again, this is a guide. If you would notice that we already have a QA for hypertension and diabetes, you should always look up to those QA for QA tools na nakalagay sa table. No, try namin mag-reproduce ng marami para magamit nyo lahat. And be guided with the features, anong laman noon. Okay, that has a lot of parameters. Here is the pathway for your bronchitis, and each parameter should be met during the first visit. Okay, so we will be tackling on history and physical examination, the need for laboratories, the diagnostics, and pharmacologic interventions, and overall outcome. Daanan na natin yung outcome natin. Anong goals natin or goals of care for the first visit? So we need to educate our patient and be notify the patient, at least notify that the patient, if the patient is diagnosed with acute bronchitis, we should educate the patient that, again, this is a self-limiting condition. Most of its disease and etiologies is coming from viral infection. They are usually 90% of the time viral in origin, and they usually resolve using symptomatic management. Okay, awareness of drug prescription. So we will be guided based on the history of the patient and the physical examination if the patient warrants the use of antibiotics. Okay, hindi lahat ng bronchitis kailangan ng antibiotics. Okay, and then followed by intentional to follow up behavioral lifestyle advices. Kasi not all the time, hindi sa reseta lang tayo nagbe-base ng management. You have to hone your craft as well in counseling, correcting misconceptions, as well as advising the patient with lifestyle modification or lifestyle changes. Okay, start first with the first task on history and physical examination. So for the history of uh, patients who are presented with a case of probable acute bronchitis, we should characterize the cough. So the cough can be identified. So based on its duration, okay, the characteristic of the cough, the sputum production. So is it scanty, productive, character, the color, as well as either is there any blood tinge or it's more admixed with blood, okay, or rusty in color or currant jelly in color, ganun. Kailangan mo pa rin i-describe yon, no? Duration, na-mention natin kanina, is it within a week, within 2 weeks or more, within already a chronic condition that is more than a month or 3 months, ganun. So you have to identify these characteristics, no? Kasi they would also narrow down your differentials, di ba? For acute cough, usually, if the patient, let's say, has a history of atopy, you would consider allergic conditions like allergic cough or patients with hay fever, that would usually have symptoms of coughing reflex because of allergic reaction, di ba? Aside from that, if it's pneumonia, well, you would note it to be productive, and then yung pinaka-common ngayon and nagkakaroon din tayo ng re-emergence would be your pertussis, no? The characteristic type of cough of pertussis, yung whooping cough or your paroxysmal cough. Okay, na hindi humihinto ng basta-basta. Pwedeng tuloy-tuloy siya in a couple of minutes na kumakahol yung pasyente. Usually bata ito, no? So it also depends on the risk stratification as well as the age of the patient. Now, nabanggit kanina ni Don, it's more on cough and kadalasan production and rarely magka-fever. Actually, meron pa rin mga cases of bronchitis with fever. Okay, kasi if you are entertaining viral infections, there would still be the possibility of providing or developing rather low-grade fever during its initial infection. Though after siguro 3 to 4 days, it will subside and then it will resolve on its own because most viral infections, okay, like your rhinovirus, adenovirus, okay, or coronavirus na common, okay, or the common cold, they would usually self-resolve after a few days. No? So low-grade fever can occur. Pero if your acute bronchitis is related to bacteria, say for example, pertussis, it might present pa rin naman, no, acute bronchitis with pertussis. Fever can still occur, no? Aside from that, let's say enlarge ang airway, ang tonsils rather, pwede rin magkaroon ng fever. So other form of disease entity din yon that would be considered as a good differential. So fever can also occur even in acute bronchitis, no? Kasi 90% of the time lang naman na virus yung cause, there is still a 10% chance the bacterial, and most of the 90% can still develop low-grade fever. Okay, so in some surveillance, they would still document low-grade fever for patients with bronchitis. Okay, difficulty of breathing and or chest pain could also be presented in the patient's history. Now, aside from that, you have to identify also if there are other comorbidities for our patient. This would also affect our pharmacologic management. So, a history of asthma, recurrent respiratory diseases for adults, you would assess if the patient has COPD, hyperreactive airways, history of pneumonia, okay, and history of treatment of pulmonary tuberculosis. Okay? Kasi it would also exacerbate symptoms, no? Kung meron siyang previous respiratory diseases. Okay? Another important history to be taken would be your smoking history. Okay? So for smoking history, you have to identify the number of pack years of your patient. Okay? So as the rotators, you have to check, no, ilang sticks ba ang naubos niya sa isang araw? Gaano kadami yung kaya niyang ubusin sa isang araw. Actually, you will identify that as your value and divide it over the total number of sticks per pack, which is 20 multiplied to the years to get your pack years, diba? Now, a risk factor based on the age as well as the number of your pack years would also connote if you would still consider neoplastic conditions. Pwede rin kasi differential yan. Even if it's a rare case, you would still take that into one differential. Okay? Lalo na kung let's say matanda siya and then chronic smoker. Okay? Na recently nag-uubo-ubo bigla. Okay? So aside from your smoking history, you have to check also exposure to occupational inhalation. So if the patient is a tricycle driver, for how long siyang tricycle driver, identify kung exposed ba siya sa kalsada every day Okay, 8 to 5, namamasada, jeepney driver ba siya? Okay, may suit ba siyang mask? Okay, ano pa? If the patient is a coal miner or minero with no personal protective equipment covering the mouth or the face, the patient might be exposed also to asbestos. Yung mga old na bahay na ginigiba that still use asbestos as lining of their roof, no? Ano pa? Ano pa? Silicone, okay? Yung mga exposure to silicone waste, okay? Na pwede rin mag-cause ng pneumoconiosis. So yun, kailangan mo din i-assess kung anong type or nature ng trabaho nila. Isa pa, mahalaga din malaman, history of vape, okay? Or your electronic nicotine products, okay? Kasi most of the time ngayon, there is an increased case of, ang tawag doon, uh, e-cigarette, associated lung disease. So, yung mga cases na yan, they would be previously smokers and then they shifted their addiction towards vaping or electronic cigarettes, later on present with edema and coughing. So that's an important history to consider and a differential, okay, in mind. So once you are done with the history, you have to check for your physical examination. So for physical examination, if you have a lot of patients, lalo sa atin sa clinic, pwede naman mag-focus pero don't forget pa rin to do a complete or thorough physical exam. Now, we as doctors, we have already encountered how to do a complete physical examination. I will just be focusing on what are the things that you need to fully assess or focus on if you are presented with cough. So, syempre, this case would be important to assess would be your chest, no? The chest, the lungs, also in cardiac findings. Now, bakit mahalaga ang cardiac findings is because coughing might also be one symptom of congestion. Kung congested yung heart, masyado siyang malaki and displaced, it might present with cough reflex. Okay, aside from that, you have to check if the airways, okay, particularly the throat, if it's inflamed. Okay, possibly dahil dun sa kissing tonsils, yun ang nagkakos ng pag-uubo niya. Pangalawa, if there are symptoms of regurgitation, coughing can also mask symptoms of GERD. Okay, so for PE as well, you have to check a complete physical examination of your chest. Okay, so you inspect the chest, check for equal retractions, if there are any deformities in the thorax, both right and left hemithorax. Okay, you have to percuss if it's ano to, if it's even or equal ang tactile fremitus niya. You have to assess if there are any solid or dull, okay, percussions presented. So there are certain entities that you need to consider and it's more of a parenchymal disease. For acute bronchitis kasi, if you do a auscultation and percussion, usually they are essentially normal. Okay, unremarkable chest findings. Wala kang crackles na naririnig. Though you might consider tachypnea kasi you have to check for the RR and then tachycardia. Another consideration there would be pneumonia, di ba? So, doing a complete physical examination of the chest and lungs is essential in assessing if it's pneumonia or not. Kasi those subtle findings can differentiate the two just by being patient kahit yung counting of your RR. Kasi mahalaga yun. Kasi tachypnic patients are often yung mga taong with parenchymal diseases. Other than that, ano pang kailangan mong tignan? You have to auscultate the heart, no? Kasi if there is any history of irregular rate and rhythm, okay, or displaced ang apex kasi possible of congestion, you check for distended neck veins, okay, if there is a sign for heart failure. Now, noted here in the slide is your peak expiratory flow rate. For the residents, you have to take note of this because most of the time daw, kasi it can be one of the uh, procedures for OSCE. Okay? Hindi natin masasabi kung ito ba yung mabubunot nyo or what. So, peak flow meter is a on-site or an office procedure, and it can be done also bedside and as well at home. Okay? And it's a test that you will assess the capacity of the lungs by measuring its reading, no, from time to time. Now, reviewing the symptoms of your bronchitis, again, it is usually lasting for a week if it's acute in nature. If more than 2 weeks na siya, it's already chronic. You might consider other factors like chronic bronchitis or even TB. The characteristic of the sputum, according to guidelines, is not reliable to differentiate if it's viral or bacterial. Okay? If a question would arise that if the sputum color can be a reliable source, reliable evident for bacterial infection, that is false. Okay? It's not a reliable source, no, to identify if it's bacterial. Hindi mo masasabi minsan kasi scant pa rin ang sputum production. And again, viral infection usually ang predominant etiologic agent or pathologic agent in most cases of acute bronchitis. It affects all age groups, not just pediatrics. It also affects your adults. So a 111 out of 100,000 of the population usually are affected of acute bronchitis. Now, the use of laboratory tests is usually limited, and even you can diagnose bronchitis even without diagnostics. If it's a plain or clear-cut acute bronchitis, you could treat it symptomatically. Again, aside from that, antibiotics does not play an important role, okay? Not unless there is high index of suspicion that is bacterial in nature. Okay, we have what we call delayed prescription. Kung nagpo-progress pa rin siya after 3 days if your treatment from the time of consult, you could provide delayed prescription na iinom siya ng gamot after 3 days na hindi pa nag-i-improve or antibiotic. Okay? Effective strategies are necessary to provide effective management. Diyan papasok ang pagiging family physician nyo. Kasi most of the time, pag naalala nyo sa mga pasyente, kung may ubo at sipon, ang hahanapin nila ay antibiotic. Okay? Kung hahanapan nila antibiotic at hindi kayo nagreseta, maki-question kayo. Dok, ba't wala akong antibiotic? Di ba kailangan antibiotic, Dok? Inubo ako. Okay? If it's clear-cut na bronchitis siya, and then there is no other symptoms for pneumonia, treat it as bronchitis. Okay? You have to be good stewards for microbial management, no? Kasi kapag nagbigay tayo ng antibiotic, okay, na viral pala yung possible cause, it will just provide the patient extra cost, okay, pambili na lang sana ng pagkain, and undue stress. Kasi syempre, magbibilang yan ng oras ng pag-inom, ganun, rather than just treating it symptomatically. So you have to be confident in managing and calling your diagnosis for bronchitis. So when to consider pneumonia? Kasi kadalasan ito yung nagbabago eh. Pneumonia ba to? Bronchitis ba to? You can rule out pneumonia if the patient clearly doesn't present a high-grade fever or 38 above. Kung low-grade, possible pa rin na bronchitis yan eh. Kasi most of them are viral, di ba? Takipnik. Kung takipnik yung patient, you can consider pneumonia. Tachycardic. Kasi most of the time, if there is an increased bacterial load from the lungs, it will also cause inflammation, and it will cause increase of your interleukins, causing fever as well as vasodilation and increase of your heart rate, diba? So, reaction yun due to infection. So, tachypneic and tachycardia and fever. And then, a clear-cut clinical lung finding suggestive of pneumonia. On PE, may crackles. Pneumonia na agad yun. Pero kung on PE, clear, wala. Possible bronchitis. Okay, treat the patient as bronchitis. Now, let's say for example, clear breath sounds. Tapos, tachycardic, tachypneic. 3 days na. Tapos, hindi pa rin na, nag-try na siya mag-take ng antitussive pero wala pa rin. That is the way, that's the time when you would request, you can request for diagnostics like your chest x-ray. Para lang din ma-justify if it's pneumonia ba siya or just plain bronchitis. Okay? Another thing to consider, like I said earlier, is you have to assess if children, lalo na sa pediatric population, I'm not sure if meron tayo ngayon, pero I think recently meron tayo sa likod, no? Or sa pedio ward, the occurrence of pertussis. Okay? There are test kits for pertussis, either with swabs or antigen tests that would help us screen or triage patients for pertussis. Pero sa inyo, if you see them in the primary care setting, what is the most distinct feature of pertussis is yung characteristic ng cough nila. The cough is usually paroxysmal, pwedeng gabi, pwedeng it will also be repetitive and even discomforting and debilitating, no? Tuloy-tuloy siyang umuubo, or what we call your whooping cough. Okay? And that signifies na dapat you have to also provide appropriate treatment. Sa pertussis, let's say sa adult kung meron ka man, may nakatch kang ganito, the line of antibiotic is usually macrolide according to the guidelines. So, you give macrolides in those situations para ma-reduce yung symptoms. Okay? Now, nasabi kanina on the physical examination is doing your peak flow. Okay? Again, OSCE yield, a high yield ito na OSCE na possible lumabas. So, what is your peak flow meter? So, this is one example. This is an adult peak expiratory flow rate meter, PFR. It's a simple procedure done by patients, okay, that is usually needed to assess the dynamics of the airflow of a patient with asthma. Pero dito, in cases of your acute bronchitis, you have to check also if you need to check it also. Kasi malay mo, yung history ng pag-uubo niya ay exacerbation ng asthma. Okay? So usually it's decreased in peak flow. Kasi meron kang inflamed airways. Okay? Kasi inflammation ang hallmark or pathophysiology ng asthma. Even also in yung COPD din as well, partly inflammation. So kailangan mo i-assess yun and secretions yun. Okay? So how does peak flow work? No? If you have your green book by Lupando, it's already written there. It's on page 313, so you could browse it there, volume 1. So this is the picture of the page of Lupando. So first, ito dapat aralin nyo na lang. Not sure kasi kung baka yan din lumabas, pero at least meron kayong guide paano gawin. Okay? Fit the mouthpiece to the peak flow meter. Actually, may mouthpiece dapat to, yung puti, no? And they are usually placed here in this area. And then ensure the pointer to be set to 0 ml per minute. Ito sa baba. Okay? And then hold the peak flow so that the scale and the slots are clear from your fingers. So hindi siya dapat nakapatong, hindi rin siya dapat nakaside. Okay? Dapat away from your fingers. Okay? And it should be in a horizontal manner. Horizontal manner. Okay? Closing the mouth, surrounding the after mouthpiece. Akin naman ito eh. Okay? So dapat nakasara yun nandito. Okay? And then, usually, we have to do it 3 times para makuha yung highest peak or highest reading. Okay? Kasi yung highest reading would be the one that will be recorded in the diary. Now, dito, in assessment of your patients with bronchitis, you have to check also the highest na lang. Okay? If it will fit, okay, if there is noted to be significant airway limitation or not. Now, ano ba yung limitations ng ganitong procedure? Number 1, instructions ng pediatrics. Mahirap ituruan ng bata. Pangalawa, si elderly din. May possibility na poor ang comprehension din ng elderly because of, syempre, yung edad nila. Number 3, if the patient is already exacerbating, hindi mo naman na kailangan gawin ito. Okay? Pero if they are in an office setup, meron silang ganito on their own. And take note, this is for single use. For one person only. Hindi pwedeng i-share ito sa iba. Okay? Lalo na katatapos natin sa COVID. Okay? You measure the highest value for your peak flow. So, pubugahan nyo siya dito and then hold your breath and then blow. Okay? Na nakasara yung gilid ng mukha. Ng bunganga pala. Okay? Usually, the reading would be presented there. And then 3 times yon, the highest would be the one that you will record. So these are the 2 examples for cases of asthma. Take note that the patients with asthma, there is an erratic, okay, presentation of the level. You would see here in the morning, meron siyang levels of below 450. Okay, for below 450, usually that's a very significant marker for nahihirapan siya that time. And then after bronchodilation, marirealize mo na nag-i-improve siya in the evening. Okay? So you monitor them for patients with asthma. Pero pag napansin nyo dito sa my peak flow sa number 2 na walang asthma, usually their levels are within 450 because it is above the normal value or the clear-cut normal line. No? Usually dito, it's 400. Pero kung naglalaro siya sa around 400 and 450, nagkakaroon ka na inflammation or obstruction. Okay? Reversible obstruction for asthma. Okay? So, the values could either be different per age. So, kailangan makuha mo yung exact age nila at the same time, the exact height of your patient. Okay? So, these are some of the predictive values na pwedeng target nila per age. Let's say you're a 30-year-old male that is 5'6". Ako, ganun. So, that is 620. Yung dapat ang matarget ko na level. Okay? That does not necessarily connote dito lang yung green. Okay? Usually, dapat mahabol niya yung expected na predicted value for men at their age and at their height. Kung hindi, meron kang noted na limitation or airway limitation sa patients natin. So that would be one clinical significant feature for possible cause of coughing with asthma. Okay? So this is an example of the diary, no, na ni-note for patients every day kapag pinapamonitor mo sila. Now, for cases of bronchitis, again, cough could be at least 2 days, but no more than 2 weeks. And then no evidence of pneumonia, both clinically and radiologically. So it would either present with fever, present or absent, rhonchi or wheezes, which are large airway features, no? Or breath sounds. Hindi siya yung crackles. Okay? Sputum can be discolored, but it cannot connote bacterial or viral in nature. So the US, marami kasing kumbaga patterns na pinapakita. And most of them do not gel with each other. Sa US, they consider bronchitis for cough and sputum production. For UK, cough and fever or sputum with chest pain. Okay, for Europe, particularly the Dutch, wala pa rin sila makapag-provide ng clear-cut na definition for bronchitis. Pero for us, we could consider those surveillances just as long na may single symptom na meron. Ubo, cough. Okay? Again, these are other indications na would help you decide kung kailangan mo siyang ipa-x-ray. So, yung patient dumating sa clinic natin, inuubo. Pero, hindi naman bloody ang plema. Productive, pero wala kang clear breath sound siya. Pero heart rate niya, 110. Tapos takipnik at 24. Pero, hindi siya febrile. Sa ganun, hindi siya nag-fit entirely na bronchitis lang. Kailangan mo ba siyang ipagawa yung x-ray? Okay? So here are some guide that will help you if you want to do x-ray for our patients. Now, kung let's say for example, you cannot fully commit na meron siyang crackles. Sabi mo, fine, parang fine crackles. You have to do other physical maneuvers. Like yung percussion, you do it correctly. Tactile fremitus or vocal fremitus, you could also do that to check for consolidation or dullness, diba? So, if it fits, and if it fits na pneumonia siya, possible na pneumonia, you could treat it. Pero kung hindi ka pa rin fully committed, it's okay, magpa-x-ray ka, tignan natin. Okay? Para malaman natin kung kailangan ba natin siyang bigyan ng antibiotics and call it for pneumonia. Now, evaluation of adults with acute bronchitis should focus on ruling out serious illnesses. One of them is pneumonia kasi kadalasan yan yung sinusulat natin. Okay? Cough lasting for 3 weeks, kailangan na yun pa x-ray. Baka mamaya TB or pulmonary new growth, okay, or COPD, hyper-rated, diba? So take note that the diagnosis of acute bronchitis are mostly based on clinical practice. Hindi lahat kailangan i-x-ray. Kung clear-cut lang na bronchitis lang siya, pwede mo na siyang gamutin diretso. Pero if you are not fully committed with the diagnosis, you could do the battery of tests, specifically x-ray. Okay? Para ma-check nyo kung is it pneumonia or other pulmonary condition. And you could do yung pulmonary peak flow if available. Now, ano ba yung etiologic agent na kailangan natin malaman na usually cause? Sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, kadalasan ito ay viral. Okay? Kung viral in nature, kadalasan these are your adenovirus, sabi ko nga, coronavirus, influenza virus. And they are usually self-limiting. Sa atin, we can provide naman oseltamivir given on the appropriate date, pero mahal kasi dun siya at saka depende sa availability. Okay? Other than that, the other 10%, you have to check if na baka bacterial din siya na pwedeng mag-cause ng bronchitis. So, the history would be essential para if you would call for the start of antibiotics. No? Now, ano ba yung usual culprits? H. influenza, chlamydia, trachomatis, moraxella, streptococcus pneumonia, bronchiomela. Those are your bacterial. Pero kailangan bang magpa-request ng sputum culture? Relatively hindi na. Kasi madalas matagal ang yield, ang turnaround time ng sputum kasi it usually is 5 days. Not unless heavy growth. Okay? And then most of the time kasi sputum already has colonies forming on it. May bacteria na talaga doon. And you cannot fully tell if those bacteria are the causative agent or just normal flora in the airways. Okay? So it will not give you a that much of a consideration. Pero magbe-base ka na lang talaga sa clinical practice or clinical judgment po sa patient. Other tests that can be done, let's say you're considering pertussis, serologic test for pertussis can be done. Meron naman na ring influenza test kit that can be done. PCR for coronavirus, di ba? CRPs for inflammatory markers. That depends on kung ano ba yung kino-consider mong type of etiologic agent. Si COVID, di ba, yun, rat, and then yung PCR. Kung kailangan siyang consider, lalo na sa healthcare workers and also history of exposure for COVID-19. Now, how do we treat patients with bronchitis? So, we have the same features naman. Paano natin ginagawa ito with the other diseases, pharmacologic and non-pharmacologic. Again, antibiotics are generally not recommended for acute bronchitis. However, antibiotics may be given for faster relief of symptoms among patients with high probability that it's caused by a bacterial causative agent. Now, ano ba yung mga possible hints na bacterial causative agent? If the patient has a high-grade fever or around 38 above, okay, the presentation of a pleural and sputum, and adventitious breath sounds, either yung with or without rhonchi or wheezes. Okay? You might consider also including antibiotics. If so, yun ay yung clear-cut na symptoms niya. Okay? Now, and to those with comorbidities, you could also include antibiotics. Pero kung healthy adult ito na nagtatrabaho na wala namang comorbids, better you don't add muna yung antibiotics until pwede kang mag-delay prescription. Okay, mamaya sabihin natin kung paano ba yun. So comorbidities are also one of the deciding factors to give antibiotics. So either it's your elderly patient that is 65 above, diabetic, patient with heart failure and history of coughing, and immunocompromised patients. Now, pag napansin nyo dito, okay, the following are the usual medications that are given. But one of them noted here is not a full recommendation. That depends lang kung meron siya ng isang comorbidity, which is asthma. So I'm talking about your bronchodilators, especially your beta agonists. So they should be avoided kung wala naman siyang history ng asthma. Okay? Hindi lahat na nag-uubo ng PIDYA na wala namang history ng asthma, kailangan mo lagyan ng Salbu. Okay? Hindi mo kailangan bigyan ng neb agad. Okay? Lalo na kung hindi naman asthmatic ang consideration mo. Okay? We are shying away of just giving us salbutamol agad-agad. You have to do assessment first before providing 3 doses of salbutamol. Kasi may condition tayo na tinatawag na medication-induced cardiomyopathy. Yung mga patients na nasanay ng salbutamol na lang ng salbutamol nung bata sila, they would develop dilated cardiomyopathy when they grow older. Kasi nasanay na sila na Ventolin or brand pala yun. Salbutamol. Okay? Na nebulization. So, we have to be better in our decision making, especially in giving inhalations or bronchodilators, no? Now, usually kapag yung problem natin dito is cough. So ano ba yung dapat medication na bibigay mo? Siyempre, mucolytic and expectorants. Okay? For your mucolytics, yung N-acetylcysteine, okay? Carbocysteine, you can provide them. Yung N-acetylcysteine, 600 mg, effervescent tablet or yung sachet, once a day dosage yon, better yun sa matatanda. Si carbocysteine, 3 times a day for 5 days yon. Capsule form, pero syempre, 3 doses. Baka ma-miss na yung isa. It depends sa'yo kung ano yung gusto mong ibigay. Expectorant naman, you have your guaifenesin. It decreases mucus viscosity and cough frequency. Okay? Now, ano pa yung nakalagay dito? Antipyretics and fluids. Pag naka-expectorant ka at mucolytics ka, ang pinakamahalaga din na kailangan mo i-increase ay fluids because kailangan mo yung tubig para maging hydrated din yung katawan mo, it will cause kasi uh, a possible dehydration or loss of water sa area. Kaya dapat may extra water ka pag ini-intake para madali mong ilabas yung plema mo. Okay? That's why you have to hydrate your patient or hydrate yourself kapag ikaw yung inuubo para madali mong may labas yung plema mo. Now, kung may fever, you give also your antipyretics. Okay. Now, there are studies about herbal or complementary medicine that can be given. Okay, like your pergolonium, that are usually your traditional Chinese medicine. Dadaanan natin yun mamaya. Again, antibiotics, reserve them for special conditions, comorbidities, and then clear-cut features of bacterial infection. Now, strategies to reduce antibiotic use for acute bronchitis. Ito is table para matulungan lang kayo mag-guide paano nyo ba sasabihin sa pasyente. Let's say, this is a healthy young adult with cough, productive, low-grade fever, pero clear breath sounds, walang comorbidities. You treat the patient for acute bronchitis. You provided mucolytics expectorants, and then hydrate the patient. Provide them a patient with vitamin C plus zinc, no, for nutrient supplementation. Then sabi mo, okay doc, doc, okay sir, observe mo yung symptoms mo for 3 days kung di ka makabalik. Okay, if hindi ka makabalik, I'll be providing you, okay, an appointment. You can either call me or pick up a prescription dito sa OPD. Usually sa atin, hindi natin kwento hindi natin nagpa-practice. Pero this delayed prescription is an early follow-up. Okay? Ito yung kapalit ng close follow-up. Okay? Kapag hindi pa rin nag-improve after 3 days, mag-follow up po kayo para po mabigyan po kayo ng karampatang additional na gamot, which is your antibiotics. Kaya mahalaga yung mga pasyente natin na hindi pa natin fully makommit, no? Na mag-follow up after 7 days. Let them follow up after 3 days for close monitoring. Okay? And then kasi kapag hindi nag-improve after 3 days, magbigay ka na ng antibiotic. Okay? And usually kapag sa clinic setting ito at follow-up, first follow-up, huwag nyo na siyang pabayaran ng follow-up naman, no? Para lang din naman para at least mas okay sa kanila. Follow-up lang naman. Kung yung first consult, okay lang. Okay? Address the patient's concern with a compassionate manner. So dito na papasok ang ating counseling skills. Identify if there are any misperceptions, misconceptions about the treatment, any questions that needs answering before you discharge your patient from your clinic, no? And then once you identify those misperceptions or misconceptions, you educate the patient and then provide your action plan, okay, together with your prescription. Okay, discuss also expected course of illness. So sabihin mo kay ma'am, while ongoing the treatment and taking let's say N-acetylcysteine, you might experience or may raramdaman nyo na baka lagi kayo nauuhaw. So kailangan medyo damihan mo rin yung pag-inom mo ng tubig para hindi ka ma-dehydrate. Okay? So bantayan mo rin po yung kung magkakaroon ka ng lagnat at kung nag-worsen yung ubo mo. Kung hindi pa gumaling after 3 days, bumalik po kayo sa amin. Okay? So you have to provide them a complete, okay, assessment as well as educate them correctly in a compassionate manner. Okay? Discuss the expected course, explain the antibiotics, that antibiotics do not significantly shorten the illness duration and are associated with adverse effects such as your resistance. Lalo na kung pinipilit nila ang antibiotics kung hindi pa naman kailangan. Okay? Let's say bronchitis lang siya na viral. Clear-cut viral on your history. Pero hinihingi niya, Doc, baka pwede mag-antibiotic ako. So you as a steward for microbial resistance, no, kailangan mong i-explain sa kanila na ma'am, base kasi sa simptomas mo at sa pag-aaral, more of viral ang presentasyon mo at ang viral infection di nangangailangan ng antibiotic as of this moment. Pero kung sakaling magkaroon ka man ng simptomas na lalala after 3 days, tumaas ang lagnat, nagtutuloy pa rin ang plema, pwede kayong bumalik sa akin para mabigyan ko kayo, ma-reassess kayo at mabigyan ko kayo ng additional na gamot. Possibly, doon ko may bibigay yung antibiotic. Okay? So, in a meaningful and complete manner. No? Hindi rin yung left hanging yung pasyente. Okay? So, discuss the treatment plan and include the use of your non-antibiotic medications to control symptoms. Describe the infection to be more of a viral illness. Ang ibang tawag din nila dyan ay chest cold. Okay? Now, these are other key recommendations from the AAFP. Similar din sa napag-usapan kanina. Okay? Antibiotics, hindi siya routine. Okay? Not unless, yun nga, kailangan siya kung hindi pa rin nag-i-improve after 3 days of observing the treatment from the initial consult. So you could either give antitussives, your dextromethorphan, codeine, hydrocodone. Nakalagay dito, specific age group, 6 years above. Okay, 6 years above. Beta agonist inhalers in patients with wheezing that would present more likely of asthma. You can also provide corticosteroids, especially in those cases of exacerbations. Now, yung mga herbal medications na note sa guideline is yung echinacea, pelargonium, and dark honey, specifically for children. Now, sa tatlong yan, may modest benefit lang dyan would be your honey. Si pelargonium, mixed ang result. Si echinacea, medyo poor ata ang effect niya. Now, based on studies. Okay? Now, the following medicine should not be used to manage bronchitis-related symptoms. Wait lang, nawala yung kwan ko. The following medications should not be used to manage bronchitis-related symptoms. Expectorant, beta-agonist inhalers, okay? Antitussive younger than 6 years old, yung antitussive. Sa expectorant, okay, dito, nung tinignan ko to, parang nag-conflict siya doon sa guideline natin. Kasi doon sa una, meron siya doon sa first part. Now, in these situations, kapag meron siyang, yung case niya is less yung sputum production, okay, kahit yung mucolytic na yung ibigay mo. And then, antitussive. Okay? Pero kung nahihirapan siyang ilabas, you might consider it, no? In some form of way of assisting the patient for the symptoms. So, same din ito from the previous guideline. So, yung delayed prescription can be done, lalo na kung close follow-up. Okay, nabanggit ko na ito kanina. Again, for pertussis, you would provide macrolides. So, ano bang example ng macrolides? Erythromycin. Okay, you can also provide your azithromycin. Kahit azalide siya, pwede din yan. Okay, inhaled bronchodilators may be given for patients with acute bronchitis, distressing cough without wheezes. This is only more on the asthma condition, no? May possible asthma na component. Oral bronchodilators may be given for patients as alternative if not available. Now, ito yung tatlo na binanggit ko kanina of the 3, honey yung may mas okay na benefit as well as your pelargonium. Si echinacea, inconsistent yung result. Now, yung follow-up niya usually is 1 week. Now, what will you assess after the second visit? No? For the second visit, reassess the symptoms. Kung nag-improve ba, nagkaroon ba ng worsening of symptoms. So you try to check and investigate again. Check for the response to the medication, its compliance. If the patient is a smoker during the initial consult, you should also provide smoking cessation and counseling, no? And then appropriate pharmacologic treatment. So in this part of the consult, dapat ma-strengthen mo ang health education ng iyong patient. So in health education wise, i-re-emphasize mo lang na yung condition niya, lalo na kung nag-improve na siya, na the condition was more likely to be more of viral in nature, lalo na kung hindi ka naman nag-antibiotic. No? And then it was only self-limiting, and usually it's best that you keep a higher immune status moving forward. No, reassure mo siya na this viral infection could just be temporary, and then most of the time we would offer treatment such as yung in giving your vaccine after a month of your treatment. And then these vaccines would either be your influenza vaccine, yung pneumococcal vaccine, para lang din maiwasan nila ang respiratory conditions in the future. Kasi take note that one or two of those pathologic agents would be influenza and strep pneumo. Okay, so mahalaga yung vaccines. Then yung lifestyle modification, if let's say for example, sa initial consult, willing siyang mag-quit for smoking. And then sabi niya, nag-provide siya ng quit date, kamustahin mo if nag-quit ba talaga siya after 1 week. So aside from that, you have to include the family in the counseling of smoking cessation, di ba? Kasi sila din yung witness sa bahay. Yan. The family should be involved, especially if the patient is a smoker. And always recall or remember na itong technique of your counseling, doing the 5As as well as checking for the level of change, it is a cycle. Paulit-ulit lang. Pwede mong ulitin to the next consult. Lalo na kung nagkaroon siya ng relapse. Okay? Or kung hindi pa siya ready talagang mag-quit ng smoking. Okay? Until such a point, ma-push mo siya. Now, kapag let's say hindi pa siya ready, you lay down the evidences why you need to encourage the patient to quit smoking. Kasi it will, yung mga nasty side effects niya, cancer, destroys the villi of your lungs to be more prone for infection. Ayun. So, idagdag mo yun na part of your health education. Now, in a community standpoint, syempre, if this is part of your community dun sa barangay, let's say sa Sitio de Mortis, and a lot of smokers are present there, and this patient has been peer pressured by yung mga kababata niya doon to smoke, and one of the risk factors is smoking, you would strengthen yung mga ordinansa sa barangay at sa bayan nila. Like in the national guidelines of your EO 26, dito is a national law of smoking cessation, tobacco campaign natin. So, kailangan ma-strengthen natin ang policies with regards to the barangay kung nasaan sila. Okay? So, include nyo yun sa plans nyo, especially if you are handling a community. Okay? So, overview dun sa second visit is mostly this part, no? So, review of the history. Again, hindi mo naman kailangan mag-follow up ng laboratories kung nag-improve siya. Pero if let's say hindi pa rin nag-improve, you would request for X-ray or other battery of tests that will help you. Pharmacologic treatment, pwede mo nang i-discontinue yung mga gamot na hindi niya na kailangan. And then, or if kailangan niya mag-start ng antibiotic, you would include it to your management. Okay? Emphasize the importance of proper health education. Okay? Hindi yung uuwi siya na hindi niya alam yung sakit niya. Ang kahalagaan nun is maging aware siya na yung sakit niya ay acute bronchitis, tapos madalas viral ang infection. Paano natin ito maiwasan? Well, isa dyan, ang prevention ay the use of vaccines. Okay? Para ma-encourage po silang magpabakuna. Take note, ang vaccine for influenza is yearly, di ba? Yung pneumococcal, every 5 years, di ba? So, kung depende sa edad niyan, pag elderly, yung PPSV. Tapos pag adults, no, 18 to 65, yung PCV 13 or 15 available, depende kung ano available sa locality. So encourage them to be vaccinated. Okay? And then lifestyle-wise, encourage them to quit smoking and avoid or limit their vices. Kasi it will further include the benefit nung pagkawala ng bisyo nila at magkakaroon ng better quality of life kung tanggal nila yung bisyo. Okay? So overall, our goal there is to improve the resolution of symptoms, better quality of life and satisfaction, and compliance to a better lifestyle for our patients. Okay? So yung commitment natin dito, hindi lang siya from one consult. So dapat it will encompass hanggang gumaling yung pasyente. Okay? So this guideline has been, I think, na-modify na rin to by, ano ba to? Last year. Pero wala pa yung final. Inintay pa namin sa PFP. Pero this is din one of the references pa rin for bronchitis. No? Yan, sabi ko na pala ito. Okay, so here are the references for this lecture. And you can download them online, and you could also browse your Lepando books for the references for the OSCE. Sige, that is the end of the lecture. Sino ba nandito? Yan. So, may questions ba? From the clerks. Madalas kasi clerks. Hanggang kailan ng clerks pala?
Doc, hanggang May 6 po yung rotation namin sa family medicine po, Doc.
Basics. So, last week nyo na.
Yes po, Doc.
Okay. Sige, Don. Ano insight mo sa lecture?
Doc, as for my insight po, Doc, parang same din naman po sa lahat na patient would come na parang ang vague ng papakita sa'yo na ang dami mong maiisip agad, but it comes to us to parang, let's say, ito na yung time na i-develop talaga yung clinical eye. So, in the discussion regarding sa acute bronchitis na parang ang broad niya muna, then you will follow to narrow down everything that you need para ma-assess talaga yung patient regarding the management, the disease I should say, kasi it would matter kung ano yung diagnosis mo sa yung management mo. Then so, kumbaga doc, parang dito sa acute bronchitis, sabi ko nga parang ang broad niya sa una, tapos with your clinical eye and with the discussions na and as well as the practices na kikita namin sa family medicine clinic, doc, parang dito pa lang po, doc, we will be practicing na po to how to handle patients carefully since management would matter most po, doc. So dito pa lang po, doc, nasasala na po yung um, pagiging somehow clinician po in the future, doc.
Thank you, Don. Yun nga, we should shy away of ano to? Being dependent with labs or diagnostics. Kasi most of the time, yung mga cases natin sa clinics are more on clinical ang presentation. Doon din tayo nagkakaroon ng ano to? Delay minsan, no? Kasi yun natin fully commit yung diagnosis. Pero hindi naman kasi natin fault yun kasi marami talagang sakit yung pasyente. Okay? Pero in certain situations na clear cut naman talaga na siya bronchitis lang at wala siyang symptoms of pneumonia. You could treat it with symptomatic treatment. Okay? Now, if you have presentations of pneumonia, like tachypnea, tachycardia, fever with noted lung findings of crackles, okay, decreased bed sounds, or noted on X-ray consolidation, pneumonia, okay, treat the patient with pneumonia, di ba? So, yun naman ay magka-add lang siya naman sa confident mo to treat the patient and to add antibiotic. Pero it does not have any harm naman na kung hindi mo nabigyan ng antibiotic, matatakot ka na. Now, if you have doubt naman, or konting doubt lang, na hindi ka clear cut na viral, yun nga, you could provide the delay prescription or have the patient follow up after 3 days. Lalo na kung malapit lang naman ang bahay nila. Say, if you will be practicing naman as a private physician, having your own clinic, usually your patients are just around the corner, no? Kabarangay mo lang, madalas sila, no? Yan, pwede naman sila bumalik after 3 days. Pero kung yung mga pasyente mo ay, let's say, taga-Bagao, eh, kailangan mong ma-observe siya for 3 days, pwede mong ipadaan sa telemedicine, patawag mo siya, if let's say hindi pa rin nag-improve, or as a doctor, one of the traits naman is you follow up the patient, pwede mo naman silang tawagan. Okay, ma'am, kamusta kayo? Kamusta po yung karamdaman nyo? Okay, if the patient tells you that it's better, di na kailangan na magdagdag gamot, continue lang yung treatment, and then let's see each other after 1 week para ma-reassess mo siya. Pero kung let's say after 3 days kung tinawagan mo, hindi pa rin maganda, okay, sige ma'am, ganito. Pwede pong makabdaan kayo, makabalik kayo sa clinic para kunin yung reseta, may bibigay akong dagdag na gamot. Okay? Now, paano yung issue na kung binigay mo na yung advance yung reseta ng antibiotic? Well, the risk there is kung bibili niyo yung gamot agad. Okay? Meron kasing possibility na ganun. And syempre, baka kasi kung binili niya tapos hindi naman pala kailangan, napagastos lang siya. 'Di ba? So, you have to find another way, no, to maximize yung management ng patient mo at the same time not provide undue stress and financial burden to your patient. 'Di ba? So, clinical lang yang acute bronchitis, but treatment, it does not only involve medication, it also involves patient education. Okay? Sige. Sa interns, one of the interns naman, yung kamukha ni Don, si Stu. Stu.
Hello, Doc. Good evening po,
Ayan.
Doc. Doc, for me po, Doc, naano ko dun sa idea about the delayed prescription strategy, Doc. Though we, sometimes or maybe always we are, di natin ma-weigh if we are going to give antibiotics or not to give antibiotics.
Mm.
But though it may not be applicable sometimes sa clinics due to financial constraints and the proximity of the hospital. But the delayed prescription strategies may be baka magamit natin siya in the future for sa private practices natin. So, Doc, tanong ko lang po, Doc, kasi as an intern po, Doc,
Mm-mm.
sometimes we are parang doon tayo sa parang play safe na doon tayo mas nag-weigh yung magiging play safe tayo, Doc, na
Managing patients.
we opt yes, Doc, we opt to give antibiotics na, Doc, kasi
Mm-mm.
uh, kung di man sure tayo na acute bronchitis, at least we are uh, parang we rate the risk versus benefit po, Doc. Parang binibigay na agad natin yung antibiotic. Kahit hindi naman yun bacterial, Doc, at least may naibigay na tayo. So parang sinashotgun na lang kasi natin minsan. So pag bacterial man ano, di okay. Parang ganun po, Doc. So I learned ngayon, Doc, na parang uh, naano ko dun sa mga points, lalo na yung parang sino ba yung bibigyan mo ng antibiotic. So,
Mm.
yun nga, yung may mga unstable na comorbids po, Doc. So, with regards to age pala po, Doc, meron po bang ganun na criteria for giving antibiotics? Or more of the comorbids lang po, Doc?
Based on the age sa guideline by American Academy of Family Physicians, no, na naging reference din ng PFP, 65.
65
65
po, Doc.
above, tapos with comorbidities, possibly diabetes, heart failure, um, unstable chronic illnesses or immunocompromised patients. Yung mga yon, pwede mo bigyan ng antibiotic. Now, yun. Yun yung mga cut off to the
Mm.
age. Actually, pag
Pero Doc, hindi
65,
siya,
you call it geriatric na, di ba? So, the
opo, Doc.
geriatric population.
So hindi siya single criterion, Doc, na age hindi pwedeng so dapat may
Hindi. May
comorbids.
comorbid.
Dapat may
Oo.
comorbids.
Qualifier,
Okay, Doc.
comorbid. Oo.
May qualifier na comorbids.
Oo.
Yes po, Doc. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Stu. Ayun, yun din. Nagets ko yung term na sinabi ni Stu on. Bigyan na lang ng antibiotic para wala tayong problema. And well, meron tayong ano to? May part naman na guilty din ang mga doctors. Kami, meron din ganyan sitwasyon noon. Pati ngayon din naman. Yung security blanket, kumbaga, at least nabigyan natin ng antibiotic kasi okay na siya. Pero when you go to practice at the same time, your examinations, you have to be fully committed to clearly diagnose outright na bronchitis lang to, na viral. Or kung bronchitis ba to na bacterial, what makes you sure na possibly bacterial siya? So is it with the presence of fever, harsh breath sounds like your wheezes and bronchitis, okay? Or hindi pa rin nag-improve yung treatment after the initial consult after 3 days, gano'n, mag-provide ka na ng antibiotic, di ba? So in setting of yung OSCE or in uh, ano to? Principle wise, like your exams, gano'n, you should be more specific, no? Sa security blanket natin na magbigay ng antibiotic din. Actually, yun parang dapat competent tayo na to call kung kailangan ba ng bigyan. Kagaya ng call if giving antibiotics for 3 days for cystitis. Kung kailangan bang i-extend for 7 days. Kaya siya nagpa-follow up for 3 days, di ba? Yung mga UTI. Kung kailangan bang i-extend kasi may symptom pa or mahapdi pa. Kasi kung masapdi pa 7 days mo na lang, then mag-follow up after 1 week ng treatment. Di ba? So, there's no harm in extending, and then kung may paraan naman para mabigyan yung gamot yung pasyente. Let's say dito sa atin, lagay mo sa tagubilin. Let's say bronchitis probably viral. Di ka pa nabigyan ng antibiotic. For a reassessment of symptoms, if symptoms persist, okay, may consult nearest rural health unit for prescription of antibiotics. Pwede mong ilagay yon para if ever kailangan nilang resetahan sa nearest RHU, sila doon na magreseta. And then after which, pa-follow up mo siya sa inyo. Okay? Kasi babalik din yon. Now, what's the assurance? Primary care center din pa rin ang RHU. Pwede rin naman silang reseta. May doktor din naman doon. Lalo na kung malayo. Okay? You could use that technique. Lalo na kung kilala nyo rin naman yung doktor kung nasaan yung pasyente. Let's say kung sa Peñablanca, kilala nyo naman si Doc Franco or si Doc Janes o yung MHO doon. Okay? Pwede nyo siyang tawagan na pwedeng, Doc, may patient kasi ako sa inyo, pwedeng pa-prescribe na lang ito, baka hindi kasi makadaan sa CVMC at the moment. Dadaan na lang siya dyan. Yun. So navigate your patient or coordinate your patient. Those are those are the two traits of a family physician as well, no? Na kailangan din ma-embody ng isang family physician or family medicine specialist. Okay? So, madiskarte, yung naging term, no? Na kailangan natin gawin. Okay? Sige, sa residents, last na. Yan dito. Friends, gising ka pa. Doc Friends,
Ay, hello po, Doc. Good evening po.
evening.
Siguro, hello, Doc.
Yes, yes. Sige.
Naririnig ako, Doc.
Ah,
Okay. Siguro, Doc, sa akin lang, since we talk about yung sa indications when to give antibiotics, I would also like to take note po dun sa indication naman kung kailan tayo request for X-ray.
mm-mm.
Kasi sometimes, yun nga
Lahat
po
na
sa
lang in
clinic,
X-ray.
oo. Yes, so kasi sometimes I still have difficulty siguro kasi syempre lalo na some patients require na parang pag walang pinagawang laboratories, walang mga basta daw mga pinagawang laboratories, parang medyo
Minamadali.
ano sila kung hindi ko ba kailangan, Doc, na ipagawa to ngayon, gano'n.
Mm-mm.
So, yun lang, Doc. Siguro, yun lang din, Doc, dun sa how to properly explain to them na sa ngayon, yun nga, wala pa tayong indications and um, with this disease like this acute bronchitis, we can manage them symptomatically muna without yun nga, mag-request muna ng mga labs or other procedures. Yun lang po.
Thank you, friends. Ayun. So, yun nga, yung request ng labs, dapat alam nyo din kung kailan. Lalo na sa atin ngayon na sobrang dami ng pasyente, umabot tayo ng 100. Tapos papa-x-ray mo pa yung pasyente, pipila pa siya sa baba, sa malasakit, abot siya ng ilang oras. Pagbalik niya na dito na na-x-ray, siya pala yung last patient. Di ba? So, tedious. You just request x-ray if necessary, if kailangan talaga, at you cannot fully commit with your diagnosis. You can discuss it sa FMO kung malay mo upon your discussion, it's more ma-clarify kung talaga more of the indication for doing the chest radiograph is warranted, then proceed. Pero kung wala pa rin, kung di naman at more clear out of bronchitis, treat the patient. Pwede naman magpa-x-ray after 3 days kung kailangan mo i-for close follow-up. No? Lalo na sa EHS kasi fifth floor yun eh. Tapos papapa-x-ray ka sa baba. Minsan di na yan babalik. Empleyado pa man din. Di ba? Unless yung empleyado sumisingit. Yun ang gagawin niya. Well, it's a good thing din as well na nagpagawa na kayo ng LIS doon sa taas or PACS para at least ma-check nyo na siya doon. Again, yung labs in the management and the diagnosis, not outright na kailangan unless lang equivocal ang decision making nyo. Okay? So, actually, kung gusto nyo nga i-BM ito, ano ba yung sensitivity of doing the X-ray for bronchitis? Sige, pwede din naman ata. Tingnan nyo lang kung mas mag-i-increase ba yung diagnosis nyo. Pero part naman na kasi siya ng guideline. No? Wala lang exercise siya. Kung sakaling high yield talagang makakapag-call na even without X-ray, pwede mo nang gawin. No? Um, Based din sa practices natin, so you have to apply this, lalo na kung clinical practice lang. Okay, so as well, familiarize yourself dun sa procedure ng PFT kasi baka sumama yun sa OSCE. Kasi kailan ba yun? 2020 o 2019 ata daw lumabas yun. And tignan nyo din yung other procedures sa Green Book. Okay, sige. I think that's the last. Mag-attendance na lang tayo for this evening. On nyo na lang yung camera. Yan si Tin Bakiran. Doc Tin, welcome back. Welcome back from
Hi, Doc.
Derma. How is Derma? Kamusta ang ninth floor?
Okay
Wait lang.
naman.
Buti nga may elevator, no? Pero na-try ko yung one time na walang elevator eh. Masakit. Okay? 3, 2, 1. Smile. Isa pa. Si Doc Elaine mag-on. Okay? In 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay, thank you everyone and enjoy the week. Enjoy the night na lang. See you all tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you,
Po, Doc.
Doc.
Thank you po, Doc.
Doc Chris.